16-year-old Alex, a skateboarding enthusiast, arrives at Paranoid Park, an abandoned and isolated skate park in Portland, Oregon. The park, known for its raw and rebellious vibe, is a place where Alex often seeks solace. It is here that Alex encounters Scratch, a rough and mysterious older skater. Scratch invites Alex to join him for a ride on a freight train, a reckless and dangerous activity that promises freedom but also risk. The two boys are drawn together by their shared love for skating and the thrill of defying convention. We noticed over 90% of our viewers enjoy our content but haven't subscribed yet. We know you want to, you just forget sometimes. As we dive into this intense emotional and psychological drama, let's change that. Like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling recaps. As they board the train, Alex feels a sense of excitement but also uncertainty. Scratch, an experienced and daring individual, takes the lead. The pair ride the train, a symbol of their desire to escape and experience life on the edge. But the mood shifts when a security guard notices them. The situation escalates as the guard attempts to stop them, leading to a physical confrontation. In the chaos that follows, Alex accidentally strikes the guard with his skateboard, causing him to fall onto the tracks, where he is killed by an oncoming train. The traumatic event sets the stage for Alex's internal struggle, setting him on a path of guilt and isolation. The scene ends with Alex alone, grappling with the consequences of his actions. The death is a shocking accident, but its consequences are immense. Alex's brief moment of excitement has turned into a nightmare, and the reality of the event sets in. This incident marks the beginning of Alex's emotional and psychological unraveling, leaving him to wrestle with guilt, fear, and the consequences of a single impulsive action. The death of the security guard weighs heavily on his mind, and he is consumed with the need to cover his tracks. In a desperate attempt to distance himself from the event, Alex takes steps to eliminate any evidence that could tie him to the accident. He begins by discarding his skateboard, which had been involved in the incident at the steel bridge. The gesture feels almost symbolic. Alex is trying to sever any connection to the death and the reckless choice that led to it. The skateboard, which had been a tool for escape and freedom, now represents a painful reminder of his mistake. Next, Alex changes his clothes at a friend's house, further distancing himself from the night's events. As he washes away the physical remnants of the incident, he is left with an overwhelming sense of emptiness. His actions are futile, though, as he cannot erase the emotional and psychological aftermath of what happened. Despite his attempts to hide the truth, the weight of the event continues to haunt Alex. His efforts to dispose of evidence are temporary distractions from the deeper, inescapable guilt he feels. This scene marks a crucial moment in the film, showcasing Alex's desperate need to forget, even though he cannot escape the consequences of his actions. The investigation into the death of the security guard intensifies as Detective Richard Liu takes charge. The police have found the skateboard that Alex discarded, and it is quickly linked to the tragic incident on the train tracks. The evidence points toward Alex, though he has not yet been directly implicated. The detective's questions grow more probing, and Alex begins to feel the weight of his actions closing in on him. At school, Detective Liu approaches Alex, questioning him along with other students. While Alex is not openly confronted, the tension is palpable. The detective's inquiry grows more persistent as he seeks answers, but Alex remains tight-lipped, concealing his involvement with the incident. Alex's internal struggle is evident, and his body language betrays the guilt and fear he feels. He's consumed by the fear of being discovered, but also by the sense that he is being watched, even though he hasn't confessed. Meanwhile, Alex's peers are also questioned, and the investigation appears to be narrowing in on him. Despite the mounting pressure, Alex remains silent, unable to fully face the reality of what happened. His growing paranoia underscores the psychological toll the incident is taking on him. As the investigation continues, Alex's guilt deepens, and he begins to withdraw further into himself, unable to escape the haunting memory of the fatal accident. Amidst the turmoil of his guilt and the mounting pressure of the police investigation, Alex's relationship with his girlfriend Jennifer begins to deteriorate. In an attempt to escape the overwhelming emotions he is grappling with, Alex seeks comfort in a brief, disconnected sexual encounter with Jennifer. However, this moment, meant to offer some relief, only further exposes the emotional distance between them. The encounter is awkward and emotionally flat, with Alex's mind elsewhere, consumed by the haunting memory of the incident at Paranoid Park. Jennifer, sensing the shift, becomes frustrated with Alex's lack of engagement and emotional withdrawal. The lack of connection and intimacy in their relationship reflects Alex's internal struggle and his inability to truly connect with anyone in the wake of the tragedy. Afterward, Alex makes the decision to break up with Jennifer. His emotional detachment and the weight of his secret push him to isolate himself, even from those closest to him. The breakup is not just an end to their relationship, but also an outward manifestation of Alex's growing sense of isolation and disconnection from the world around him. He retreats further into himself, unable to reconcile his actions with his relationship. The scene highlights Alex's emotional numbness and his inability to cope with the consequences of his impulsive decision. In the midst of his growing guilt and isolation, Alex finds himself struggling to cope with the aftermath of the security guard's death. At school, his friend Macy notices that Alex is becoming more withdrawn and troubled. She tries to reach out to him, offering a piece of advice she believes might help him deal with his emotions. Macy suggests that Alex write down his feelings as a way of processing his internal turmoil. Although initially resistant to the idea, Alex reluctantly agrees. Macy's suggestion to write becomes a pivotal moment in the film. Her words offer Alex a possible way to channel his confusion and guilt, though he remains unsure whether it will help him make sense of the events that have spiraled out of control. As Alex sits down to write, the film shows the deepening of his inner conflict. While Macy's advice is an attempt to offer him a form of catharsis, it also highlights Alex's internal disconnect. He is at a loss for words, struggling to articulate the weight of what he's experienced and the consequences of his actions. Though the act of writing provides a fleeting moment of introspection, Alex remains emotionally trapped, unable to fully confront the trauma or to find relief from his overwhelming sense of guilt. Following Macy's advice, Alex finally sits down to confront his emotions by writing about what happened. Alone in his room, he begins putting pen to paper, carefully recounting the tragic night on the freight train. As he writes, Alex revisits every detail, meeting Scratch at Paranoid Park, boarding the train, and the horrifying moment when the security guard fell onto the tracks, after their brief, chaotic encounter. The act of writing is not easy for Alex. Each sentence forces him to relive the trauma he's been desperately trying to suppress. His words reveal the confusion, fear, and guilt that have consumed him since that night. Although the audience does not see the full text of what he writes, it becomes clear through his narration and flashbacks that Alex is grappling with the enormity of his actions. Writing offers Alex a temporary sense of control over a situation that feels overwhelmingly chaotic. It's his attempt to organize the fragmented memories and emotions that have been haunting him. However, even as he documents the events truthfully, Alex's guilt remains unresolved. The process does not offer the cathartic release Macy had hoped for, but instead deepens Alex's awareness of his inner turmoil. This moment marks a turning point in Alex's journey. While he has taken a step toward confronting his guilt, he is still trapped within it, unable to find true peace. After pouring out his guilt and fear onto paper, Alex faces a difficult decision. Though writing about the incident helps him confront his emotions, he cannot bear the thought of anyone discovering his confession. The written account is a raw, honest record of his experience, and its existence poses a threat to the carefully constructed facade he is trying to maintain. In a quiet, solemn moment, Alex chooses to destroy what he has written. The act offers no real release, only a temporary illusion of control over a situation that has already changed his life forever. As the investigation into the security guard's death intensifies, Detective Richard Liu pays a visit to Alex's home. The visit is formal but carries an undercurrent of suspicion. Detective Liu presents himself as calm and patient, yet his questions subtly pressure Alex to reveal more than he intends. Alex's parents are present, but largely distracted by their impending divorce, leaving Alex to fend for himself during the conversation. Detective Liu questions Alex about his whereabouts on the night of the incident, mentioning the skateboard found near the scene as a key piece of evidence. Alex, though visibly nervous, sticks to a rehearsed story, insisting he had no involvement. Throughout the exchange, Alex's anxiety is palpable. He struggles to maintain composure, aware that any slip could expose his connection to the tragedy. After Liu leaves, Alex is left even more isolated and fearful. The visit serves as a chilling reminder that the truth is closing in, and no matter how much Alex tries to hide, he cannot escape the reality of what he has done. In the final moments of the movie, Alex comes to a quiet, painful acceptance of his guilt. Although he has destroyed the physical evidence of his confession and avoided directly implicating himself to Detective Liu, the emotional weight of his actions remains unbearable. Alone in his room, Alex reflects deeply on the accident, no longer trying to suppress or deny his responsibility. This acceptance is not portrayed through dramatic confrontation or confession, but through subtle, internal acknowledgement. Alex knows he cannot undo what happened, and no amount of hiding or pretending can erase the memory of the guard's death. The psychological burden is something he must live with, marking a permanent shift in his understanding of himself and the world around him. As he sits in his isolated space, Alex's face reveals a quiet resignation. His youthful innocence has been irrevocably broken, replaced by a somber awareness of life's consequences. The film closes on this introspective note, emphasizing that while Alex has not been caught or punished by the law, he remains imprisoned by his own conscience. The final images, filled with melancholy and introspection, leave the audience with a sense of unresolved tension. Alex's journey is not about redemption or forgiveness, but about living with the consequences of a moment that changed everything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth recaps and reviews. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the hidden truths in every story.